Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. We're your hosts, John and Kristen Barber, here to talk about the midway point of this year's WNBA season as we approach the Olympic break and the All-Star break. But before we get into any of that and the news, Kristen, how are you doing?
Doing good. This week was a fun week for us. It was our anniversary.
Yes, 3 years married this week.
Yes. And we went to a fun little jazz club, which I'd never done anything like that before.
No.
And it was a really cool experience having dinner and watching the show.
Yes. Some really good, small house jazz. Jeanette Harris, a wonderful female saxophonist. If you're familiar with jazz, I mean, she's not like a incredibly famous name, but she's on Spotify, so go check her out if you want some hot jazz.
Her latest album is called
Saxothrone.
Saxothrone. That is cool.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah, we just got back from the beach, where we watched plenty of WNBA while we were there, and came home on Sunday and watched a lot of WNBA.
Yeah, well, it was mostly raining all weekend, so not much actual beach time, really none.
Unfortunately. But, there's always time for hoops in our schedule, whether it was really sunny or really rainy.
Yeah.
If you're new here, if you've never listened to an episode of Attack the Baseline, welcome. Like I said, this is a show where every week Kristen and I are attacking what we know about the WNBA, constantly trying to learn and understand the teams and the players and the league atmosphere as new fans of the league and the product. We've been enjoying this journey so far. It's been a great year of the WNBA, and we've continually grown. How excited we are. We have players that we genuinely love now, and we're just excited for this week to just sort of take it all in. How has the first 9 weeks of WNBA action been for us? Who do we think are the best teams and the worst teams? And ultimately, we're just gonna have this as a break week where we realize we're really doing this. We're really along for the ride, and we feel like we're real fans at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're halfway done with the season already, but with this whole month-long break, it is going to be a while until we do the second half.
It feels like an end, even though it's very much not.
No, it does. Having the All-Star game, then the Olympics, so much is going to happen.
Yeah.
Relating to basketball and these players, but not affecting this league at all.
Right. And that doesn't mean we're not going to cover it. Even though we're a WNBA podcast, we will be doing weekly check-ins with the 5-on-5 team and the 3-on-3 team, and we're excited to get into all of that. But it's kind of a weird moment for this to be our first season and have such a long break. As we record this, tomorrow and Wednesday are the last days of basketball for almost an entire month.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
What? There's 4 games tomorrow.
4 games tomorrow. There's
2 games Wednesday. That's it.
That's it. So everybody gets in one more game, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. But so we're going to talk news first and then take a look around the league. But our bread and butter for this episode is going to be our midseason power rankings. Kristen and I have generated our list of the 12 teams in order from worst to best. We're hoping to have a little bit of difference so that we can butt heads a little bit. Everyone loves a ranking. Yeah, and if you're sitting there asking yourself, do I love a ranking? Yeah, you love a ranking. We know you love a list.
Oh, watch them be exactly the same.
They could be exactly the same. I don't think they're going to be, though. I have a feeling they're not.
Yeah.
And again, if you're enjoying and you have a comment, if you think you have a different power ranking that you want to share with us, or you think your team was very low, or your team was well positioned or even over exceeds your idea, you can share your thoughts with us at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or at our very new Twitter account, ATBpod_. So we wanted it to be ATB Pod. Apparently there was an ATB Pod. We couldn't do Attack the Baseline. So ATBpod_. Go check that out. We're going to be sharing a lot of WNBA news and Olympic news, and we'll be posting the episodes from it. So if you use the platform, I know people have decided to leave it, but if you're still hanging around, go check it out.
Anytime I'm there, I don't want to be there.
But
it's good for engagement.
Yes. And we want to engage with you, listeners. So, we might expand to other platforms as well. But for the time being, new Twitter account, go check it out.
Yep.
Give us a follow, and maybe we'll give you a follow back.
Okay.
Wink, wink, wink. Let's talk news. We've got a couple news items. I think first and foremost, the Espys were on Thursday night.
Yep, the Espys were this week. Our girls pulled it out. They won a lot of awards.
A lot of women awards.
Yeah, I mean mostly Asia and Caitlin, but
still good. Good exposure for the team.
The women. Caitlin won. They only showed one award on the actual broadcast for both of them.
Right.
But they actually both won 2 awards.
Oh, okay. See, I missed that. The off-screen awards I never keep up with.
Yeah, and the broadcast was super weird with, whatever Biden's thing, and then it, was rewinding at the end.
It was like breaking news.
It was like a horrible stream.
Yeah, unfortunately. So, it was a little disjointed.
First time watching the Espys, weird experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so Caitlin won Best College Athlete Women's.
Okay. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
And then she won Best Record-Breaking Performance.
Right.
For having the most number of points in the NCAA.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
And then Asia won Best WNBA Player and Best Athlete Women's Sports.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good for Asia.
No, it is pretty good.
Good for the W that the best women's sports athlete is coming from this league.
Yeah, especially because Simone Biles won Best Comeback Athlete.
Which makes sense too because of what she dealt with in the 2021 Olympics.
Been competing since then, but fine.
Correct.
But for Asia to win over Simone, is pretty crazy.
Right.
So, did you see any of the videos of the Aces that the Aces posted after Asia won?
I did.
So funny.
Very fun energy between Jackie and Chelsea and Asia.
Yeah.
The two of them running to congratulate Asia of her award, and of course they're busy because they're getting ready for Paris.
They were in a hotel. They were playing the next day.
Right. Yeah, true. They're not even they're not even doing Olympic stuff yet. They still have to finish this part of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were just in an away game, chilling at the hotel. Congratulations, Asia.
And
running around the hallways.
Kind of annoying that the Espys are this time of year. I get because none of the men are playing right now. So they'll have it now. But any man who won an award was there to accept it.
Not all of them.
Except Patrick Mahomes for some reason.
True.
But the women just had to send in videos of themselves, not even knowing that they won. It's just oh, we're going to play this if you win. So it was such a generic, acceptance speeches.
Well, funny enough, if you ask Jaylen Brown where he should be right now, he would say that he should be with the Olympic team, but he was at the Espys accepting his award. So,
I don't know,
Jaylen.
which is better.
Correct.
And then the South Carolina Gamecocks won Best Team, the women's basketball team.
Which
is cool. I mean, over, the Chiefs that won the Super Bowl, over good teams.
Right, best team.
Yeah, best
All
team
sports.
of the year. And Dawn Staley won a, Perseverance Award. And did have a really good speech.
My goat. Check out Dawn's speech. If you take away one thing from this Espys, I do encourage you to check out her speech. Actually, Nick Saban's speech was kind of good, but we're not talking about Nick Saban here.
Yeah, it was kind of good.
Yeah, Dawn. like, we love Dawn. We are Philadelphians by heart, and we live here. So by address.
Did you see her tweet about Joelle today?
No, I didn't.
I guess it was before the game, but she was like pumping up Joelle.
I love her. She's the best.
Sweet.
She's the best.
Yeah.
Glad that she, there's so much hate for my favorite player, Joel Embiid, and Dawn is here to remedy that. So I always appreciate Dawn. Do check out her speech, as I said, for the 5th time.
Oh, wait.
Any other awards?
No, that's really all the awards we need to discuss. But
there is an wait.
Another thing that was very cool, Philly, we love, queen moment.
Yes.
Was Quinta Brunson giving the award to Dawn.
Very true.
That was awesome.
And I was trying to remember if Dawn has been in Abbott Elementary yet. I don't believe she has been. I gotta be a shoo-in for the next season.
Oh, right.
Her and PG, and there'll be a couple Eagles in there. Jordan Mailata's due. We got a lot of Philly athletes to get on our fun little elementary school show.
Yeah.
But I do love that Quinta to Dawn connection there.
Yeah. And it was hilarious seeing Quinta stand in between Venus and Serena Williams.
Very short.
It was so funny. That was the highlights of the Espys.
Yeah, that was basically the Espys. Everything else was like, fine. Yeah. It's an award show.
Yeah, basically.
They did sort of ho-hum through all their acceptance speeches, at least of the awards. So that was kind of nice. That it was just it felt like it had a good pace. But, yeah, anyway. More news.
Yeah.
There's another league to talk about.
A whole nother league.
Yes, that intertwines with our WNBA that you might not be aware of.
So this is, I guess it's called the Unrivaled Basketball League.
Yes, and we've mentioned this before, but you might not know the name. This is the league that was created by Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, and it is a 3-on-3 basketball league of 30 players from the WNBA. I presume only from the WNBA, maybe not. We don't know for sure. And there will be 6 teams of 5 that will compete in the off season. And it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet. Starting in January, this coming
January 25.
So they're like ramping up to it.
Yes.
It's in Miami. All the games will be in Miami, which that's cool. It's a pretty easy and cheap plane ride to Miami from here.
That is true. That might be worth a little weekend.
That'd be
a little
cool.
Weekend trip in 25.
Yeah.
Check out the 3-on-3 league.
And they're doing a very fun little drop, what do you call it? Release.
Yeah, player release.
Of all the players that are going to be in it. So follow Unrivaled Basketball on Twitter. Every day they're announcing one more player.
They'll do like a hint.
Yeah, they have a little hint and people will guess and then they'll announce it. And like the visuals, the way they're announcing it is so much fun.
Right.
I think you can tell this is like run by the women. They are doing it because they want something to do in the U.S.
Right.
So they don't have to play overseas. They are getting paid a lot to play in it.
And I have those numbers if you're curious.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it like I said, it's a 6-team league. It's attempting to give equity to its 30 players and claims it will offer the highest average salary, reportedly a minimum of more than $100K in women's professional sports league history.
Great.
So the average will be above 6 figures, which, considering that these are professional athletes, and when you compare them to the NBA and the vast disparity of their salaries, where the top, woman athlete in the WNBA makes $241,000, and the top highest paid athlete in the NBA can make $65 million, that's a pretty steep disparity. So this league is attempting to increase that average salary floor in a great way that brings equity to those 30 players. And I assume that if it's successful, you expand the league to more players to try to entice more players to stay stateside and compete in this league in that off-season window after. I mean, it's January. The league ends in October, early November. So, like, there'd be a little bit of rest time, and then January for, I assume, like a month and a half, maybe. And then you get ready for the next season of the W. So, there's still going to be a desire to go check out those international, or go to be in those international leagues if that's something that you as a player have done. Mm-hmm. But I think Stewie and Nafisa want to try to keep the talent here.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I would imagine that some players that have been playing overseas for a while, like, they might still go do that this year. And, like, see, 3-on-3 is different. Not everyone likes to play 3-on-3. They have their reputations in their other countries. Mm-hmm. So I imagine they're not going to get this year everyone they hope. Perhaps the top 30 players. I don't think they'll get all of them.
Right.
But in the future, they could.
Right. And if you look at the investment groups, I don't know if you've seen the investors in the league.
I did, but I don't remember.
But it's like Alex Morgan, Megan Rapinoe, Michelle Wise-West, Kobe Altman. We've got John Skipper of Meadowlark Media, David Levi. We've got Ashton Kutcher, Ann Sarnoff.
And Mila.
Yeah, true. and Carmelo Anthony. So, like, a full spectrum of, female athletes, businessmen and businesswomen, and Carmelo. It's cool. And other celebrities. And I think, like, these folks are getting in on the ground floor. Again, if it's really successful, and I hope it is, and I'm going to be very interested in watching it, then you just increase those investments in the league, and then you bring more people in, and then you can afford to pay them more, and then you can afford to increase their payment in the WNBA, and it's a win-win-win-win-win. Mm-hmm. So
I think it'll be successful. It has a lot of hype around it. People are really excited. I think it'll be a fun time.
I agree. Mm-hmm. And if you're curious,
I guess it will be competing with the NBA.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But there'll be so much carryover from this W season of
Correct.
fans, new fans,
Correct.
that I think they'll make it work.
I agree. And if you're curious, so far here on day 6, we have Stewie, Nafisa as the top 2, obviously the first 2 that they're going to announce. Mm-hmm. Chelsea Gray. We've got Jewel Lloyd. Mm-hmm. We've got Kelsey Plum, just announced. And who else am I forgetting?
You don't remember?
It's celebrity. Oh, no. Arike Ogunbowale.
Yep.
Yes. So, like, top-end talent.
Yeah.
Like, imagine the top 30 NBA players making a 3-on-3 league. Right. That would be pretty insane.
Yeah, it's fun.
So, here for it.
Okay. So let's dig into some of the games this week.
Sure. Yeah. Go around.
There's not a ton to talk about, not as many upsets as last week. But certain players made huge impacts during their games. I guess we can start with the Fever having a big week.
They did have a big week.
They beat the Mercury, which was a big rematch for them.
Yeah.
Because they beat them the first time.
Correct.
And we were like, can they do it again?
Can they do it again? And they did.
And they did. Mm-hmm. They were leading by 31 points in the third quarter.
Yeah. Crushing them.
Insane.
Yeah.
I mean, Diana Taurasi didn't play.
BG got hurt.
And BG got hurt at the beginning of the game.
Right.
So, like, that obviously has an impact. But they still won. They still pulled it out. And it was a really good game by them.
Right. Yeah. And the Fever also beat the Lynx.
They also beat the Lynx. Without Nafisa.
Right, which is you have to take games without the Lynx best player with a grain of salt.
Right.
With a lot of grain of salt, a big grain of salt, like a whole salt shaker worth of salt.
Yeah.
But still a really good win for the Fever.
It still counts. Like, it's showing that they can compete with these other good teams.
Right. Right.
Which I don't know if people thought was going to happen.
No.
So.
I think people thought it, and then they realized, like, when they started off so bad because they played so many games, they were like, oh, no, it's not real. And then they're like, It's kind of like that meme of the girl who sips the seltzer. Like, that's exactly it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're back there. So. that was the Fever this week. The Mercury also lost to the Sun.
Yes.
By 20 plus points. So the Mercury had a pretty bad week.
They did. They did have a bad week. And that was a game that was like full of hustle from the Sun. The Sun looked really good in that game. And I've felt like I've been missing the Sun vibe a little bit. That was like okay, I see how you can be the best team in the league again. Of course, there was a very big reason why they were as good as they were, and I'll let you get to that. But like, this was pointed out to us by Coach, our Sun fan. There was a play very early that showed just how much hustle AT has. Like, AT is full battery still halfway through this season. Like, to keep a ball inbounds, get it out, and then a Bree Jones 3 off of that to sink their first basket of the game. Like, they've got juice. They're really trying, and they're trying to win me back. Maybe and I don't know if they can.
Maybe I didn't watch enough of that game closely enough.
But talk about the biggest thing about that game.
Okay.
The reason that they probably pulled away as much as they did.
Yeah. Well, the biggest person of the game was Rachel Bannum, who I guess is their 6th player, really.
6th or 7th.
Yeah. She had 8 threes, which is her career high, and the most threes by any bench player in league history.
Yeah.
They were just falling.
And they were leaving her open.
They completely left her open.
It was a Kayla Thornton Commissioner Cup wide open shot. So it makes sense.
And look, I guess the Mercury aren't the best defensive team. But you gotta see, okay, we gotta guard her better.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And I think she did for sure help them win.
Right. And what did I say a couple weeks ago that or even it was probably last week, the Sun, if they add real 3-point shooting, they can win the thing.
Yeah.
They can win the thing.
Yeah, that's really the one thing they need.
I think that's the thing they're lacking in it.
But
you can't expect Rachel Bannum to hit 8 threes every single game. But if she gets hot and then they add somebody, then we're cooking.
Yeah.
Or if Dejanay starts to hit, a higher volume of threes, we know AT's not going to take them. So this is guaranteed.
0 in her career. Yeah. So good for the Sun. If they found that in Rachel Bannum, I don't know if she needs to be starting more.
No, I don't think so. But more minutes.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure we'll see more minutes out of her. And then I think the only other thing was the Aces Mystics game. The Aces won, but Ariel Atkins went off in that game.
Yes.
Well, I think she had 34 points. 36 points. She was really good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think she made 6 threes. She was all over the place. Really hot early, sustained heat.
Yeah.
Which is good. It's good. It's good for the Mystics. And you might be surprised where they end up in the power rankings. I'm not going to segue quite there, but teaser, stick around. It's about to get juicy. But yes, the Mystics can scrap.
Yeah.
And the Aces are very good. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They are proving that they are the Aces.
Correct.
Again.
And the past couple games I've watched of them, this game and the Sparks game, they were both losing by halftime, around halftime. But in my head, I'm well, I'm going to watch this other game that's on because the Aces are just going to win.
Correct.
They do.
You can let them... You can trust that they're just going to take care of business.
Right, I do.
They're in that mode.
Right. So it wasn't surprising that they ultimately, won the game and overtook Ariel Atkins, but she really put up a fight for a while.
Yes. And we've talked about the Mystics. We're giving Ariel Atkins her flowers, but Stephanie Dolson and Julie Van Loo and Aaliyah Edwards, they are sneaky talented.
Yeah.
So give them their credit.
I will.
Interesting. Well, why don't we move in to our meat and potatoes of this week's episode, the mid-season power rankings, which we know you all love. We know you love a list.
Okay.
We know you love a list. We're going to go back and forth here.
Okay.
There's 12 teams.
Starting from the bottom.
Is it more interesting from the bottom? I think it's
kind of more interesting. I don't know.
I think let's go from the bottom. It's just it's just tradition at this point. And we'll appraise why that team is there. But first things first, I'll let you decide. Would you like to go first or second? And we're just gonna snake it back and forth.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay. All right. Then let's get into it. The mid-season 2024 WNBA power rankings start now.
Okay, so I'm saying my 12th.
You're saying the 12th spot.
Okay. In 12th, I have the Sparks.
Oh, okay, interesting.
The bottom of this list is all teams that have players that are hurt.
Correct.
But a lot of them are coming back.
Oh, see, you are appraising with an eye toward the future, because I am not.
Both.
I'm not.
The Sparks' last 10 is like 2-8. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Correct.
They are 6-17.
Uh-huh.
That Cameron Brink is not coming back this year.
Back. Sad.
They have Dearica Hamby and Rakia Jackson, who are both incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know if Dearica Hamby will decide to, play as good against other teams as she does against the Aces.
True.
That's, the only good team they've beaten.
And she's going to play in the Olympics. She's going to be a little tired when she comes back from France.
Yeah.
So
I don't see it going very well.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. And like I said, I appraise this based on where they're at now. So I have them in a little different spot. But I totally get, if we're looking at where they're going to be kind of at the end of this, I felt like they have the best odds to probably win the Paige Beckers sweepstakes, which is exactly what they wanted. So
I want Paige on the East Coast, but fine.
Yeah, that would be very nice. Mm-hmm. In my 12th spot, I have the Dallas Wings, who are the league's worst record right now. And we know they have Arike.
Really not by much.
Is one of the...
okay.
Well, correct. It's very clumped down there. But they have Arike, one of the highest scorers in the league. But that's their brand of basketball. Just let Arike shoot. And unfortunately, she is unable to hold a team together entirely. But, and if I was doing this the way that you were doing it, Dallas might sneakily be one of the top 8 teams, because Satu Sabli is going to come back.
And Maddie Siegrist,
who broke her finger. Mm-hmm. If you add both of them to this team.
Yeah, but they had Maddie Siegrist earlier.
I am aware.
And they still were bad.
I'm aware. And the thing that, the reason they're there, they have low quality wins. They have the worst record.
Yeah.
But I really think they could have a surprising second half. I do think they will not make the playoffs. I'm not suggesting that they're going to end up in a top 8. Oh. I just think they will be one of the better second half teams if Satu is back.
Yeah.
Which it looks like she might be.
Okay, well, that's why I put them at 11.
Okay.
Instead of 12.
Very good.
Yeah, because of Satu coming back, hopefully.
Okay.
And Odyssey Sims.
Happy birthday, Odyssey Sims.
Pulling them up a little bit. It's her birthday?
It was her birthday. Yesterday or 2 days ago.
Happy birthday.
So, then I'll get into...
I said my 11. You were supposed to.
No, that's fine. That was your... Oh, right. Sorry. It's not really a snake. It's not like that.
Whatever.
So you had Dallas at 11.
Yeah.
In my 11th spot, I have Atlanta. Which is a fall. And I think that's my first little hot take, I guess, because Atlanta's the 9th best record in the league right now. But they're 1-9 in their last 10.
Yeah.
And they kind of are spiraling. They're getting they're consistently losing by 10 plus points a game. They're not really in it.
They were close yesterday. They almost beat the Storm. Are they playing the Storm?
Yes. Yeah.
They almost beat them.
Yeah, but you can't, almost doesn't count. And like, as far as I know, we talked about Tina Charles. Like, obviously, they have Alicia Gray, whose aura is insane.
Yeah.
But, like, and I'll admit that this is my biggest blind spot this year, is the Atlanta Dream.
Yeah.
But if you just look at it, they're just not producing. They've been very, very bad of late. So that's why they fall here, and I have a couple people a little higher rank than them.
I think they've had a hard schedule lately. Like, their past 10 games have been 7 games against good teams.
Right, but they're not even getting close.
They were close.
In the one game.
Yeah. Okay, well, I have them
higher
at 10th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In your 10th spot? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you do.
Any other particular reason that you had them in that spot?
Well, because of Jordan Canada and Ryan Howard. Both have to come back still.
Okay. So we're anticipating the return of Ryan, which will be there. If Ryan Howard was still there, I assume they're still a playoff team.
Yeah.
But right now, they're not.
No, I don't know if they'll be a playoff team anyway. But, yeah, 10th. I mean, yes, they have not been winning. I agree with you. It's just more of the fact that these players are going to come back. And the reason I had them over the over the Wings, was because the Wings had Maddie Seegers to begin with and still weren't good. Mm-hmm. So I don't think she will make that big of an impact. But I guess
she's just a scorer.
Satu Sabli will.
Right. From what I hear, Satu is one of the best players in the league.
I keep hearing it.
So I'm excited to see it.
Okay.
I'm excited to see it when she plays for Germany.
Okay, so that was my 10.
And my 10 was the LA Sparks. So we have the same bottom 3, just in a shuffled order here. Yeah. You said it all. It's De'Erica's good, but not good enough to, raise the boat in this case. Like, I do expect them to be a bottom 4 team. Yeah. Which means I assume we have the same 9 position. Let's talk about Washington?
Perhaps. Yes, the Mystics.
Okay. All I wrote in my notes was Scrappy in all caps.
I didn't really write anything. I wrote Lost to the Sky twice. Uh-huh. Oh no, that was the Dream. I'm getting confused. I originally had the Dream and then the Mystics as 9, 10. And then I swapped them, so I'm confusing myself. Yeah, the Mystics... Well,
they're also easily confused teams because same color scheme, and we don't watch them as much as the other teams.
The Mystics, I wrote that I think they are a deeper team than any of those bottoms.
Correct.
And then they have 3 players that are yet to come back. Mm-hmm. Shakira Austin, mm-hmm. Brittany Sykes, mm-hmm. who I apparently drafted 2nd overall, and she only has played in 1 game.
Oh, wait, not 2nd overall, with your 2nd pick.
My 2nd pick.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, you had the 1st overall pick, so it came back to you. So
I guess
in the 12th spot?
Yeah.
Or, no, there were 8 of us. 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Carly Samuelson.
Uh-huh. And Elena Dillon. Well, she's not coming back.
No.
Sad.
So, yeah, with the 3 of them, I think they will be much deeper of a team than these bottom.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. I think that Julie Van Loo is one of the best rookies in the league. I think Aaliyah Edwards is also one of the best rookies in the league.
I love her.
Yeah, she's great. She's great. Obviously, we sung Stephanie Dolson's praises. And, they have shown the ability to be up at halftime against really good teams. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like this is where they belong. They're the best of the worst here. So let's get into our top 8, which is our playoff teams as this stands.
Yeah.
We both kind of said it at the same time. Number 9, back to you. Who is your number 8?
My 8
team?
Is the Sky.
Okay, my 8 is also the Sky.
Okay. Though, really, I can see if the Mystics come back fully healthy early in the second half, I can see the Mystics being better than the Sky.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting. Shakira is practicing, folks.
Yeah.
She missed a lot of games, but she's one of the highest usage players in the WNBA.
And the Sky have a player in Elizabeth Williams, who they lost, who is not coming back.
Correct.
So.
But we look at the Sky, a very talented team, clearly very talented. I think that with the Angel Reese double-double streak of it all, there was certainly a concept within the team to, like, feed Angel.
Yeah.
And now that they don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, because...
that might mean they'll play better.
I think you could tell, like, when Angel was when she was getting closer to breaking the double-double streak, I think...
they got worse.
Yeah, and the coach, like, was playing her more.
Sure.
So she would get it.
Sure.
And they were purposely giving her the ball so she would get it.
And she's one of their best players.
And I don't care. I think it's amazing for her.
Yeah.
But yes, you can tell now that it's been broken that she's not getting as many possessions.
Agreed. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
So we're in lockstep on the 8 spot. 7 spot. Are we going to zigzag?
I don't know.
I'll go.
Okay.
I have the Phoenix Mercury.
So do I.
In the 7th spot.
Yeah.
What I have to say about the Phoenix Mercury, it kind of feels like something is off there.
Yeah.
Ka's getting a lot of usage, and she's very good, but for some reason, it's like not winning them the games the same way that they did early on in the season. Obviously, BG was hurt for a long portion of the season so far, and she came back, and then they got really hot, and they looked really good, and then for some reason now they're like dropping games against teams that they should probably beat. The Indiana Fevers of the world. You would think that they would overcome this team. I feel like they haven't had a quality win since mid-June when they beat the Liberty. So we're recording this on the 15th of July. It's been a long time since I feel like they have a quality win.
Yeah.
And they're sitting here at 500.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're a 500 team. They could go down, they could go up. And they should play together. Theoretically, they're deep. They have shooters. They have size. But I don't know, for some reason, like I feel like there's something not clicking, and that's why unfortunately they're in the 7th spot.
Yeah.
For me.
No, I totally agree with you. And I feel like, especially with BG and Diana Taurasi, like having played together for so long, being such like well-respected vets, accomplished vets, you would think there's more chemistry on the team. You would think there's better, I don't know what happens in the locker room, but you think there's better like rapport and chemistry. I also feel like certain players are streaky, and I feel like in general, they're like kind of slow.
Yeah.
So I see them being a 500 team, really, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I could see that, and I wouldn't be shocked if they get really hot. They just don't feel like a top 5 team. Like there was a moment, there was a week where I was like, they can contend with anybody. But this was before Chelsea Gray comes back. And this is, I think they probably beat the Liberty. I'm sort of forgetting. But they had a really, really good win early. And I was like, okay, all right. And BG is right around the corner. And for some reason.
I don't know. I want them to. I love this team. I want them to succeed and get hot.
The X Factor.
Yeah. No, I don't like that.
Number 6, why don't you?
Okay, number 6, I had the Fever.
I also had the Fever. We're pretty much in lockstep now.
Yeah, I think they will also basically end up 500. Around the 500 mark.
Yeah.
They clearly can beat good teams.
Uh-huh.
They've beaten the Liberty. They've beaten the Mercury now twice.
Yep.
But they also are sometimes getting beat by lower teams, like the Sky have beat them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like both the Fever and the Mercury are both will end around 500. But the Fever are just faster. They are younger, and I think they just have more of a passion. I don't want to say passion.
No,
just
I don't think that's the right word.
No, it's like more of a drive.
Sure. It could be drive. I think drive is fine. I think Caitlin, for all of her all of the things that she brings to the league, I think she plays very hard. And obviously we've seen that with the way that she, mouths off to referees and other players. Mm-hmm. But she's very good. And she is playing good ball. And most importantly, like we said early on in the season, if she gets it figured out with Aaliyah, and she has, they're a very good team. Like, plain and simple. Yeah. And Alyssa Smith is playing really good ball, too.
Really good.
So I got to give those three credit because...
And Kelsey Mitchell, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, all-star.
Yeah.
An all-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking like they're rounding into become that team in the first round that nobody's going to want to play. And that's why I think they belong this high up here, because I think they're due. And last week we talked about it with our guest Matt, who is an avid sports bettor. Kristen and I have made our first and probably our only WNBA bet on the Fever to have over 17.5 wins on the season. And right now they are at 11. We need 7 more wins, so count it with us. 7 more wins and Kristen and I win a very small amount of money from the bet that we placed. But that was exciting for us.
Yeah.
On to our top 5 teams.
So I still really feel like there's like a break here.
Oh, yeah, there's certainly a tier break.
Okay.
If we're doing tiers.
Yeah.
I have in my 5 spot, and it was a switch around when I was making the list. I have the Minnesota Lynx.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you why. At first, I had the Lynx in the 3 spot. And then I looked at it. And then I looked at how much of a skid they've been on. And how it's been rough. And I told you, like, when we started this, that I'm basing it off of where they're at now.
Fine, that's
Obviously,
fine.
Nafisa, when they're fully operable, they're one of the best teams in the league. And still, they're top 5 in this case.
I think they're just being cautious with
her.
Of
course they're being cautious.
So she can play in the Olympics.
But, like, if she goes down later, it's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's over.
Yeah.
They've had a really rough go at it. And
not really
they
rough.
have had a very rough go at it. They've had a bad couple weeks, let's say. They've lost 4 of like 6 or something like that. So I'm not doom saying the Lynx, because I think right now, if this is how much we like the team, the Lynx are probably my number 1 team. This is a favorite rankings, but it's not a favorite rankings. It's a power rankings. And I think there are 4 better teams than the Lynx right now.
Okay.
And that's why they're my 5 spot. So, but who do you have in 5?
All right. 5, I have the Storm.
Why is that?
Why is that? I don't know. I just feel like they are slower of a team. They have the worst record of these top 5 teams. They
have the same record as the Lynx.
Okay, fine. They lost to the Sky. They have played recently a lot of home games. The announcer said that. Your announcer.
Yeah, my announcer, my boy, who I would like to give a little credit to. If you've never watched a Seattle Storm game, Dick Fane and Elise Woodward are the best announcers in the WNBA. And it's like kind of not even close. Maybe the Phoenix Mercury announcers, I do very much enjoy listening to them.
Yeah, but they weren't on yesterday's.
No. But like Dick Fane is so gassed every single game. It rules. It rules. But anyway.
Okay. So I just feel like so they've had a lot of home games lately. That would mean they're not going to have a lot of home games going forward. They're going to have more away games.
Sure.
I think that's harder.
Sure.
I think they play well together. They're obviously good. I just feel like they won't be able to compete with more fast-paced teams.
Okay. Well, and the reason that I have them above that, as in my 4 spot.
Okay, in your 4.
Yes, is because unlike the Lynx, they've played better ball as of late. So sure, it could be a recency bias, but going back to as recent as June 23rd, they beat the Sun, they beat the Fever, they beat Dallas, they beat Dallas again, they lose a close game to the Sky,
okay,
they beat the Sky, they lose a close game to the Aces, they crush the Lynx, and then they beat Atlanta. Like, they're they could be 7-0 in their last 7.
Yeah.
8-0 in their last 8. Like, they're a team that, if you go back to when we first talked about them week 1, that I figured was going to take a little while to round into form.
Yeah.
But when Jewel plays better ball, and when Nneka and Skylar are connecting, and when Ezzy is the best defensive player in the WNBA, like,
is that correct?
She's one of the best.
Okay. She should be an all-star.
She should be an all-star, and we'll always bang the table for that. But I believe that it just makes sense. And I had Seattle at 5 at first. And then they got the bump because Minnesota went down.
Okay, fine.
Who's your 4 then?
4, I have the Sun.
I figured.
The Sun and the Storm are just the slower teams of these top teams. And the Sun have had a very hard time lately beating the Liberty, beating teams that are also good. They had such a good start to the season because they are playing worse teams.
Right.
So they can absolutely figure it out in certain quarters. And like with Rachel Banham going off.
Right.
But I think they need to figure out how to make the scoring more consistent.
Right.
And I don't know if they can keep up with New York if that's who they end up seeing in the finals. I don't think they will.
So then in this case, you have the Sun at 4.
Yeah.
I have the Sun at 3 in my 3 spot. And the reason that I have them up here...
Who's at 4?
Seattle was at 4.
Oh, okay.
But it's sort of like back and forth here. I had the Sun. I actually think I had the Sun at 5. And then I flipped them with the Lynx.
Oh, really?
Because I see it. I see the blueprint for them. And I've said that. And I already said it earlier in the show. But, like, I believe in them a little bit more than I did a week ago. And they've still only lost 5 games. So, like, can they back it up? They're one of the better defensive teams.
Of course.
And I know pace is not necessarily fun hoops, but when they lock it in, they can shut down another team. You said it. They've had quarters against the Liberty where the Liberty can do nothing against them.
Yeah.
And I have to, like, give that credit, and I have to believe that they're just going to click and compete again and be close to a finals team. But I want to know why you have Minnesota 3.
Okay.
And I think the reason
You're
is probably...
assuming. No, I do.
That would be pretty crazy. But I just think that... yeah, I think there's a yin-yang effect to the Lynx and the Sun.
Okay.
So, take it away.
I have the Lynx at 3 because they have already proven that they can win in high-stakes games. They won the Commissioner's Cup against the Liberty, presumably the best team in the league.
Correct.
So, I can't doubt them.
Correct.
When they are shooting threes and they're hot, you can't beat them.
Right, because they can all do it.
They can all do it. They have more three-point shooters than any other team.
At least it feels like that. Like, everyone can be a legitimate three-point threat any night.
Yeah.
Bridget Carlton, Alana Smith can go off. Nafisa can shoot threes.
Yep.
Courtney Williams can shoot long twos.
Yes.
She loves long twos.
So, yeah, they have fallen back a little bit since the Commissioner Cup happened. But I can't doubt that they can do it in the playoffs when the games are more high stakes and they have the energy behind them. And I will say, I looked quickly at, like, who are they playing for the rest of the season? And it just seems like the Lynx have the easiest schedule for the second half.
Sure. But strength of schedule does not a power ranking make.
I'm just saying. If they've already played these really hard teams and they're still this high, they can go play easier teams and be higher.
Oh, yeah. And I agree with you that when they are fully healthy, they are the third best team in the league behind our top 2. But let's talk about our top 2. I think the best way to do it is just you say what order you have them, I'll say what order we have them, and then we'll talk one at a time.
2-1.
2-1. You go.
Okay, I have Aces, Liberty.
I have Aces, Liberty.
Okay.
And I might be wrong about it.
Oh.
But
I hope I'm wrong.
Let's start with the Aces.
Okay.
9-1 in the last 10.
Yeah, the best.
They're going crazy.
The best last. They have improved drastically since
Shocking.
Chelsea Gray's back.
Shocking.
Yeah. So they're doing it now.
It's like pretty odd. It's like there's nothing else to say. Like
they start games pretty slow.
Yeah.
So like there haven't been really did they play the Liberty yet?
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah. They played the Liberty
at the very
once.
beginning of the season. They played. So when Chelsea Gray wasn't there and the Liberty won. I think the Liberty have an opportunity to beat them if the Liberty can be hot in the beginning of games, which they usually are, because the Aces tend to start much slower. Like I said, a lot of games toward halftime, the Aces are losing. But I'm like, well, they'll still win, so I don't have to watch. So there is an opportunity. But I think you can't deny how good they've been since Chelsea Gray's been back and how much they still have all the chemistry as last year.
Yep, and Asia Wilson is the best player by far in the league right now.
She's playing much better than Brianna Stewart is this year.
Correct. And Kelsey can go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea's point guard. Like Megan Gustafson. Kate Martin.
Yeah.
Come on. It makes sense why they're the 2-time champions, but right now they're not the number one. They could be the number one when we get to the final season power rankings.
Yeah.
That's a little teaser for the final season power ranking episode. But let's talk about...
like 10 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be a long time. But now let's talk about the Liberty.
Okay, the Liberty.
I'll start here and just say that it's hard to argue with the team that has the best record.
Yeah.
20 wins. First to 20 wins. 20-4. They've only lost 4 times. And I think I said this last week. Those 4 games are probably the games where Jonquel Jones just doesn't have a ton of offense in her game. Like, I think they are near perfectly constructed.
And Courtney Vandersloot was out for a couple of those games.
Yeah, they've missed major pieces for a handful of games, and I think that some of those bench players that came up to replace, like Leonie Fibish, who's a player off their bench, who I think can do a lot of things and is a helpful player. I just said it. I think they're the best constructed team. Mm-hmm. I think they're slightly better constructed than the Aces, so that's why I give them a nod here. Sabrina's been pretty good recently, but Stewie and Jonquel and Sabrina, like Courtney Vandersloot is a great passer. Benijah Laney Hamilton is a great defensive piece. Mm-hmm. Like, they're a very, very, very good basketball team, and it's hard to deny that when they're sitting up here at 20-4.
Well, do you know who their 4 losses have been to?
I didn't go back and check, but
the Lynx.
The Lynx, okay.
Not in the Commissioner's Cup.
By a point or something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The Sky.
Okay.
The Mercury.
Okay.
And the Fever.
Mm.
So I don't know if they're like playing down.
No, I don't think they're playing down. They've only lost 4 games. But yeah, they lost 4.
2 bad teams.
Right. Sometimes when you're the best team, you sleepwalk.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they can't win them all. They're not going to win them all.
Right.
But they play very well against the top teams. So perhaps they get matched up, I don't know, against the Fever in the playoffs. I imagine in the playoffs they are not going to be holding anything back. Mm-hmm. But it just is like a little concerning that like your only losses have been to teams that are not good. Yeah.
Well, those were early losses. They haven't lost in a little bit.
No.
Well, they lost semi-recently, but still.
They're 2-8, I think.
8-2 in the last 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. But, hey.
Okay.
I think that's a good list. A little bit of division. We like to see that. We love to have differences in power rankings.
Yeah, the tops and bottoms were different.
But that's going to do it for our episode this week. Thank you so much for sticking it out with us through the first half of the season. Look forward to a lot of Olympic breakdown. As I mentioned before, you can send us an email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, and please reach out to us on Twitter if you use that platform, and follow us at @ATBpod_. We'll be there, Attack the Baseline Podcast. You know the logo. Check it out. You'll see it. Recognize the orange basketball. We're going to talk a little bit more All-Star and Olympics next week.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to our All-Star game preview,
yes,
listen to that.
Check that out.
Our
roster reaction
is this upcoming Saturday.
It's going to be fun. And yeah, like, we are so appreciative of you listening to us as we continue along this journey. It's been a great season so far, and I'm continuing to look forward to what it can bring us, and new names and new faces. But until then, Kristen, I'm looking at it. What am I going to do to the baseline?
Attack it.
That's right. We're attacking the baseline. We're always learning. That's what it's like to be a fan of the WNBA. We'll talk to you next week. So long.